Good morning and welcome to our next to last lesson. Today we are talking about lesson 12.5, dividing polynomials. Our first example here this morning is 3r squared minus 15r divided by 3r. So our original expression is in black. We are going to rewrite and place each term that's in the parentheses over 3r. Now we are going to get ready and prime factor each numerator and each denominator. So we're going to factor 3r squared as 3 times r over 3 times r minus 15r factors as 3 times 5 times r over 3 times r. Now you take each term separately and you're going to cancel whatever you have that's exactly the same in the numerator and the denominator. The 3's cancel and 1r cancels, so you're left with an r. And in the second expression, the 3's cancel and the r's cancel, and you're left with a 5. So your final answer there is r minus 5. Now if you wanted to check your work, okay, to check your work, what you're going to do is you would multiply 3r times r minus 5. So let's just give you a spot up here. To check, multiply 3r times r minus 5. And when you use the distributive property, you should get back 3r squared minus 15r. Is that what we started out with? Pretty cool, huh? Anybody have a question on that? Straightforward. Okay, example number, well, let's have you try one real quick. Let's do this one. Let's do 4x squared minus 20x divided by 4x. Okay, so I wrote the 4x squared over 4x. I kept my minus sign. I wrote 20x over 4x. What's the next thing I need to do to each term? What's the next thing I need to do? Prime factor. So this would become 2 times 2 times x over 2 times 2 times x minus 2 times 2 times 5 times x, all over 2 times 2 times x. Are you with me? Now we're ready to see what's going to cancel. What do they have that's the same? 4x squared, 4x, 20x times 4, 5, 2 times 2. Okay, what's going to cancel? First term. Go ahead, nice and loud. 2 2's and an x. And in the second one? And so this time I'm left with x minus 5. Anybody have a question? Okay, let's look at our second example here. Our second example is, this time we have a trinomial divided by a monomial. 4x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5 divided by 2x. Original expression. Write each term over 2x. And then we're going to prime factor each numerator and denominator. Is everyone with me? Hello? Let's take it nice and easy. One more time. 3 terms divided by 1 term. Take each term that's in parentheses, put it over 2x. Simplify each numerator and denominator by prime factoring it, and now you can cancel. And in the third term, nothing cancels out. So your final answer here would be 2x squared plus x minus 5 over 2x. And personally, you do not like to see that because you don't like that. It looks messy. But it's okay. You just have to get used to it. Does anybody have a question on this example? Okay. Thank you for one person. Okay, next example. N squared plus 10n plus 12 divided by 5n. Again, a trinomial divided by a monomial. Rewrite each term that's in parentheses over 5n. Prime factor each numerator and denominator. In the first term, the n's cancel, and you're left with n over 5. In the second term, the 5's cancel, and the n's cancel, and you're left with 2. And in the third term, nothing cancels, and you're left with 12 over 5n. Yes?
Can it be canceled 12 and 2 like something out or
No, you are adding. You can only cancel like that if you're multiplying. But that's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. Okay. And then here is our last example. And our last example, let me just tell you, the problems that I'll probably give you are going to be pretty straightforward, which means when you look at these problems and you have a trinomial divided by a binomial, I'm going to tell you that probably 90% of the time this can be x factored, and then you're going to write it over this. So here we go. Factor the first expression. If it's a trinomial, you're going to x factor it. What multiplies to -7 and at the same time adds to 6? Anybody? 7 and -1. So this would be s plus 7 times s minus 1, and it's going to be divided by what? S plus 7. And what happens? What can we cancel out? The s plus 7's cancel out, and your answer is s minus 1. Are you with me? Okay, let's try another one. X squared minus 10x plus 25 divided by x minus 5. So this is my original expression. Second step, x factor, x squared minus 10x plus 25. What multiplies to 25 and adds to -10? Yes, it is. And now, what do you see in the numerator and denominator that are identical twins that can cancel? And your final answer is. Are you with me? Where did I lose you? Somebody in the back is shaking your head as a no. Okay, because you're always going to try to factor what's in your first parentheses if it can be factored. And what multiplies to 25 and adds to -10? -5 and -5. So you factored this, and just like we did with every other problem, you write it over what you're dividing by. So we put it over x minus 5, and the x minus 5's cancel. I can do another one if we need to. Let me just tell you what you guys are going to do. What did I give you? You are going to do, for classwork, page 95, 1 through 6 all. Hey guys, thanks for listening today. We'll be back tomorrow with our last lesson of the year. The last lesson of